Hey, I just wanted to start out by saying thank you for listening to Generation Change with Leo Finelli. Ads like this help us produce this podcast. If you'd like to make your own podcast, try Anchor. It's free, it's easy to use, and it allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, computer, or other digital device. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. Anchor helps you make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership needed. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast, and it's all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Leo, you ready?
Ready. Hi, I'm Leo Finelli, and you're listening to Generation Change. Today joining us is Michael Platt. Michael's a 15-year-old baker, business owner, social entrepreneur, and food justice advocate. Michael has been baking since he was 9 years old, but has been interested in the challenges of inequality since he learned about the historic March on Washington at age 6. Michael comes from a home of educators and advocates and began to ask questions early on about the challenges of inequity. Inspired by a pair of Tom's shoes he received as a present, Michael decided that he would begin a baking business with a one-for-one model. From the beginning of Michael's Desserts, he has donated a dessert to someone in need for every one dessert that he sells. With this model, Michael has served hundreds of people. Michael appeared in Season 4 of Kids Baking Championship on Food Network, as well as Season 1 of Be Our Chef on Disney+, and has been featured in The Washington Post, Good Morning America, The Today Show, and CNN. Michael can also be seen in the upcoming show Operation Awesome, premiering in March on BYUtv. I talked to Michael about how he's working to end food insecurity in his community and beyond. Enjoy! Hello.
Hello.
Nice talking to you today.
Thank you for having me.
So how did you first get into baking?
So I first got into baking when I was with my grandmother. I guess I've always known how to bake, known how to cook. I've always been in the kitchen. But the first time I actually baked something by myself, out with my own control over what I'm baking, was with my grandmother. I made an almond joy cake for one of my family dinners. And that was the first time that I really got to bake by myself almost.
And where'd you go from there?
So from there, I guess I just continued to bake, continued to watch videos and start sort of learn about baking. And then I started my business when I was 11 years old. And that business is called Michael's Desserts.
Please run me through the process of how your Michael's Desserts business works.
Yeah, so it's one for one. So every dessert someone buys, we give one away. We also donate to local organizations like Milk Get Hungry or just food pantries around my area. So we either donate to people or donate money to organizations. And I work a lot around food insecurity and making sure that people have access to food. So when I'm giving away money, it's mostly to organizations that work around food insecurity as well.
What kinds of psychological, emotional effects have you noticed when you deliver your food?
Yeah, definitely people have been very excited, very happy to get something because they don't get it all the time. They don't get cupcake all the time. So just giving them something that I know they don't get all the time is really important. And they're definitely happy about it. Yeah.
Because my family, we do this thing where we deliver sandwiches to I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's this tent city. It's rows and rows of tents, and it's really heartbreaking and powerful whenever I see it, whenever I go by it. And it always is just so overwhelmingly powerful to see in front of me. It's all of this, we think of it as being far away from us, but it's closer than we think. How has the COVID-19 pandemic impacted your baking and community work?
I guess I've been doing something around food insecurity ever since I started my business. But definitely COVID had a really big impact, and I started doing more things around specifically childhood food insecurity, because for most kids who are food insecure, they get 2 of their 3 meals a day from school. So they get breakfast and lunch from school. But since they're out of school, they don't get those meals. So I've been donating food and donating snack packs, which are basically healthy, non-perishable snacks that kids can eat. And it's basically to hold them over from meal to meal. So I use snack packs and I donate them to my local food pantry, and they give them out to kids. And they basically it's just supposed to help them. It's not supposed to be like a meal, but it helps them over. It holds them over from meal to meal. So maybe they eat breakfast, but they don't know if they're going to eat lunch or dinner. So they can eat that if they get hungry between breakfast and the next time they're going to eat.
How have you observed racial inequality within the scope of food inequality?
Yeah, definitely. I guess just people of specific races and of minority races are more hit by poverty in general. So there are more people who are food insecure percentage wise that are getting the resources that I'm giving. So that's definitely something that I've noticed as I'm working. Yeah.
How has your mother helped and supported your work?
Yeah. So my mom has been a very huge impact in what I've been doing. She helps me out all the time. She is definitely she's like my partner in my business. She's been there since the beginning, and she does a lot to help me out. So she's definitely been like a huge impact in my life and a huge help when it comes to my business.
We'll be right back. One thing I love that you did recently was create freedom fighter cupcakes based on past and present activists. How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, so I've been doing freedom fighter cupcakes. They're basically cupcakes that are based off of people who have inspired me. And I've done that the whole time that I've been doing my business. Basically, just something to highlight the people that have inspired me to do what I do. I love doing them, especially because I get to be really creative when it comes to matching the cupcake with the person, and that's something that I love to do. So it's just really fun to come together and base a cupcake off these people because it's very interesting to try to have a cupcake that's based off of a person. They're two completely different things, so it's cool to merge them into one. But yeah, it's just a way that I can highlight people who have inspired me in my life.
Exactly. How do you merge a cupcake with a person?
I kind of do it based off of different things. So it can be from where they come from their culture, or maybe even what they look like. I just try to change it up a little bit. But most of the time, it's from the food that they growing up, whether that's their favorite food or where they come from. So if they come from India, I'll make something that's Indian or just different aspects of their life, mostly based off of their culture. And I'll turn that into a cupcake.
If you made a cupcake based on me, please don't. Nobody would want to eat it. It would be a cupcake with a pile of powdered Parmesan cheese on top and a drooling volcano of olive oil. Please don't ever make that cupcake. Nobody would want to eat it. How do you plan on continuing and or expanding your community work in the future?
So yeah, I definitely want to continue to do what I'm doing. I also just want to scale it more, let it grow out. But I do want to start a couple more things, especially around food insecurity. I want to do small space gardening classes, basically where people can grow their own food, whether that's herbs or tomatoes or different produce. And then also, excuse me, I also want to do budget cooking classes and budget buying food classes, basically so that people, because I have I guess something that's very much impacted me. A quote has been, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, and if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So I love to just give people the resources so that they can kind of take it up on their own to have resources for themselves, teaching them how to get food, teaching them how to grow food, teaching them how to buy food and stretch it. So definitely just doing more things around that end.
What can we do about hunger in our own community? How can we get involved?
So yeah, definitely a really big thing and a really easy thing to do is just donate to your local food pantry. I'm sure that people have local places that they can donate, whether that's a church or a school or actual food pantry. And also just educate yourself about hunger in your city or even in your state. So there's a website, I think it's Feeding America, and they basically have a meal map. And it's basically just a place where you can go in to states and then into counties and then figure out the percentage of people that are hungry in that state and in that county. And that's definitely something that people can do, just educate themselves and to donate to places in their community.
You I know this is a touchy subject for you, but you have epilepsy. Do you feel
Yes.
that the fact that you do has become kind of an identity for you?
So yeah, definitely a lot of people know that I have epilepsy. I feel like it's definitely something that has brought a lot of people to start to educate themselves about it. So I feel like that's really cool just because people they see me and they find out that I have epilepsy and then they might want to educate themselves on it, which definitely it helps a lot because a lot of people have epilepsy and it's definitely something that people don't really know a lot about.
I think the same goes for me because I have autism. Let's take a short break. So you've been on a few cooking shows.
Yes.
You watched cooking shows and then you were on some. Which ones were you on? What was the experience like?
So I've been on two cooking shows. The first one that I was on Food Network. It was in 2017, I think. And I was on the fourth season of Kids Baking Championship, and that was really, really fun. I got to cook with a bunch of different kids, and it was in New Orleans, so I got to visit New Orleans and hang out there. So that was really, really cool. And the second show that I was on was Be Our Chef on Disney Plus, and that was really fun. I got to cook with my entire family, and that was at Disney World, so we got to go there and hang out there. It was a really fun experience to meet all the people, cook with them, and yeah, it was just really fun.
Thank you for helping me score some major popularity points with my little brother by giving Disney Plus product placement on this podcast. Do you plan on going on any more cooking shows once people can make cooking shows again later this year, maybe?
Yes, so definitely like when people ask me to be on cooking shows, I almost always say yes. So that's really cool. I'm also going to be on a second show. It's not a cooking show, but it's basically just about kids going all across America and helping people. And it's really fun. I filmed that and that's coming out March 10th. So I'm super excited about that. And it's called Operation Awesome. It's going to be on BYUtv. So I'm really excited for that to come out. It was a really fun show to film.
Does being on these shows like make your work feel kind of validated because just to love and be loved?
Yeah, it's definitely something that is very like it's like I'm here because of all the stuff that I did. It's like I did all this stuff and now people are seeing me for it and I get to share with more people. So that's something that's really cool that I get to that's kind of something that happens when you're invited to be on a cooking show, you're invited to do interviews like this. It's just something that shows that people are seeing you, people are seeing what you're doing, and it's also a way that you can see and share what you're doing with other people.
Do you often make food for yourself and your mother, like on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I definitely cook dinner pretty often, or I help my mom cook dinner. Like once a week, I'll cook a meal. I also like bake things while I'm recipe testing. I'll bake something and then give it to my family members. That's really fun to just cook something that I can kind of be really creative with, and then feed it to my family and get some like feedback, stuff like that.
What kind of things do you make?
I guess it kind of differs. A lot of times I'll just do whatever I'm like learning about or wanting to test, like recipe testing. So I'll just make something that I've never made before and then feed it to my mom and my brother and my dad, and just hang out with them and eat. So that's really cool. But a lot of times it's just something that I've been wanting to make for a while.
Have you been able to partner with any nonprofits?
Yeah, so I've been able to partner with No Kid Hungry, which is an amazing organization. I do a lot of stuff with them, and they're like definitely one of my favorite organizations. I've also been able to partner with the Maryland Food Bank. I was on Good Morning America in December, and they donated $50,000 to the Maryland Food Bank in my name.
Oh, that's where I heard of you. I saw you there.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, it was really fun to hang out with them, just like help them out. That was really fun. So that's another organization that I partner with. And yeah, I guess I've just like over time connections with different people. That's been definitely something that I've enjoyed.
It is important that you're enjoying it because I think it's so valuable that you have something you're able to do that helps a ton of people and can change lives and can save lives.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the pandemic has made it harder than it may have been before the pandemic for certain people to get the access to the food they need. So
Yes.
it's very important that we have people like you helping with that.
Yeah.
How do you feel that not helping, not just ignoring the need, helps contribute to a sort of vicious social cycle of injustice.
Yeah, so definitely just especially like when it comes to kids, because if you have people who never give to kids and kids go hungry, then they probably won't pay attention to school, which gives them, I kind of call the cycle of poverty, or the cycle of just starting with kids, and it goes, kids are hungry, they can't pay attention to school, and they can't go to college, which will not help them to get a good job, which allows them to not be able to pay for food for their kids, and then to keep and going, keep on going, keep on going. That's the main reason why I focus a lot around childhood food insecurity and make sure that kids have access to food specifically, because I want to like end that cycle. But there's definitely a cycle of poverty. There's definitely a cycle of food insecurity. And I feel like just starting with kids and make sure that kids have access to food and kids have access to basic necessities is something that's very helpful in ending that cycle.
Yeah. So if I wanted to go online and I wanted to actually buy one of your things for somebody in my community down here, could I?
I have a website called Michael Desserts, and we sell cupcakes there. We also sell cookies, and we have them for local pickup and for shipping. Ship all over the country.
And you're only how old?
I'm 15.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
What do you think are some misconceptions about hunger and food insecurity that a lot of people have that you might want to take the time to debunk?
People who are experiencing food insecurity or in poverty are lazy. I feel like that's something that a lot of people kind of think about when it comes to people experiencing poverty, and I don't think that's true at all. And it depends on a lot of different things that's happening in their life that puts them in that position. But a lot of times people are working very, very, very hard. They work more than one job, and they're still in that cycle of poverty. It's just people who are in poverty, people who are experiencing poverty aren't lazy. They're just in a position where working a normal amount is not really getting them where they need to be.
Have you made lasting friends with anybody who was in a situation in which they were food insecure and you were able to help them?
Yeah, I have met some people that I have kind of talked to more than once. There's a man that I gave cupcakes to probably a while ago, and still he'll like DM us on Facebook talking about if we're going to be in DC giving away cupcakes anytime soon. That's something that's really cool. It just like definitely when you're giving away something or when you're helping people, you're making an impact in their life. So just to do that is something that's very cool, and it definitely will help you to make connections with people and make friends.
That's so true. Well, Michael, it was very nice talking to you and getting to know you. I love this so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. I enjoyed talking to Michael. He reminds us that hunger is a problem that's very much alive in our own communities, and the COVID-19 pandemic is only making it worse, especially for people of color. What resonates deeply with me about Michael is that he realized he had a talent, then figured out how he could use this talent to make a change in his community and in the world. Maybe if you know what you're really good at, start thinking about how that talent can be used to inspire a positive impact. Sometimes standing up for change isn't easy, but it's so worth it. If you'd like to recommend someone you know who is trying to make a difference to be on the show, or if you are someone trying to make a difference and you would like to be on the show, email us at generationchange@leofinelli.com. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GenChangeWithLF. That's at GenChangeWithLF. Subscribe and review wherever you get your podcasts, and just share this with your friends and others. Generation Change with Leo Finelli is hosted by Leo Finelli, executive produced by Julie Finelli, and edited by Nick and Leo Finelli. Our original music was composed and performed by Leo Finelli. Thank you so much for listening.